session. Now we have our final speaker, Ms. Vetakshi Mishra. She is currently the final year student for pursuing BSc Biotechnology from Dembi College of Arts and Science from Goa University. She is a science writer in the Current Science Journal and published about 50 articles, reports, and papers in the reputed journals, magazines, newsletters. And she was recently invited to deliver a guest lecture on ozone by Government College Morena in Madhya Pradesh. She is also a forensic science lecturer series organized by Science Communication Group, Uttar Pradesh. She has recently received various prizes in science competitions organized by Rempe College and Kandala College in Goa. She is in past she is in part of ongoing internship by BioLimbs Center for Science and Technology in Tehran. She has received honors in many national and international competitions and got the opportunity to participate in India International Science Festival in 2020. Today she is going to talk about some light on seaweed farming, and here she is, Ratakshi, you may proceed with the presentation.
Thank you, Priyanka. Is the slides visible?
Yeah, they are visible.
A very good evening to the August gathering present here. Myself, Shridakshi Mishra, and the topic for today's discussion is seaweed farming. In this session, we shall be discussing about the seaweeds and its types. Then we'll go through the applications of seaweed, which will better help us relate and appreciate the use of seaweed farming and the need of seaweed farming in India and what is the scope in Goa. We'll also have a look at the advances and the limitations of seaweed farming. To begin with, what are seaweeds? We all must have seen seaweeds whenever we have visited beaches. So these are big mass of algae which look similar to plants, and they grow in marine water, and we found them near the seashores. Now, seaweeds do not have a proper structure, but in this figure there is a rough structure of how they look like. There is a hold fast at the bottom which is similar to roots of a plant, and then there are blades and stipes which work like stems and leaves. Now, the best thing about these seaweeds are their entire body carry out the process of photosynthesis, which generates a lot of oxygen, which covers almost 50% of the oxygen generation of the world. So, the types of seaweeds, the classification is the same as that of the algae. So, they are classified based on the color or the pigmentation. We have the chlorophyta, which are the green colored seaweed, and the examples include the chlorepa and the monostroma. Then there are rhodophyta, which are red algae or the red seaweed in this case. Examples are Glacieria and Porphyra. And there are also brown algae, example Sargassum and the kelp. Now, before we move on to the seaweed farming, we must first appreciate the different applications of seaweeds. So, seaweeds are widely utilized in the field of food, cosmetics, medicines. They are a part of advanced research in preparation of organic fertilizers, bioplastic, biofuels, and a lot more. So, there is a huge scope of seaweed farming. Let's have a look at what exactly we mean by seaweed farming. So, when we talk about farming, it is something, cultivation of something on a commercial level. So, seaweed farming is farming or the farming of the seaweeds on a commercial level. This can be done within the sea or over the sea surface or any other water surfaces. So, for example, when we have a farm and we need to grow crops in it, there are different methods involved. First, we'll be towing or cleaning up the soil. Then we'll be sowing seeds, watering them, harvesting them. Similarly, there are methods involved in seaweed farming. So the first essential criteria is the site selection. Where exactly are we going to cultivate the seaweeds? So the best place could be the sea itself or the oceans. But in many countries, India, we do not have the right to privately take a property like sea or oceans. So in such countries, we can even use tubes, water tubes, or we can use some areas of lands, lakes where the seaweeds can be grown. There are many other areas like if I could dig up dig up a land and fill it with water, then there could be such options like here it is in Japan. Then the seaweeds can be also grown near to the seashores. The most important things which we need to keep in mind for site selection is that the water chosen should not be very stagnant. There should be some water movement taking place. This could be artificially created or by naturally with the ocean current. And also, the ideally water temperature should be around 25 to 30 degrees centigrade. Once we select the site, the next thing is preparing the sites. So the preparation of sites, if it is in case of tanks or tubes, then the water flow, the rate at which the water is moving has to be taken care of. And then there are many traditional ways of doing it. Like here, it is the figure or the photo from Odisha, the state of Odisha, where the seaweed cultivation is going to take place. So here they have put a bamboo raft which they will submerge in oceans for growing the seaweeds. And also, if there is a multi-level project, then higher applications can be taken place for preparing the sites for seaweed. The next thing is seaweed collection. So when we again compare it with the normal farming in land, we need seeds to grow it. But in case of seaweed farming, these algae do not have seeds as such. So the only method by which we could grow them is from the main parent plant. So the seaweed collection could be taken place from any of the ocean. The desired seaweed can be collected and fragments can be grown. So these fragments will gradually undergo vegetative propagation and they'll multiply by themselves, and we can get the initial seaweed and the final after the harvest. And also there are many different techniques like tissue cultures in which the small amounts of seaweeds can be grown and then they could be implanted. Also there are many project proposals which are going on which will have specialized institutes which will supply the seeds. Like how ICAR is responsible for supplying the seeds for farming, there could be even institutes which will supply the seaweeds in near future. Once this is done, so we have seen that we have selected a site, prepared the site, and the seaweeds are being collected. The next thing is to construct the farm. So there are three main methods for doing it. The first one is floating bamboo method. This is rather a traditional method in which a bamboo raft is made and nylon threads are used for making a net-like structure where small amounts of seaweeds are placed at equal distances. And this bamboo raft will then go into the water, almost submerged, and the seaweeds will grow gradually. Another one is the mangrove techniques. So these are very similar to the bamboo method, but here it is useful when we do not have to submerge the seaweeds exactly into the water, but this can be functional for low water surfaces. And then there is monoline method in which nets are not formed, but only single strands are made for construction of the farms. Once this is done, this will be kept inside the water or maybe the site where we are growing, and within 2 to 3 months there will be growth of the algae or the seaweeds, and then the amount will increase and we need to harvest them. Now here is the way of tying them for growing. So once the construction of the farm is done, these small amounts of the seaweeds have to be tied, and usually a hitch knot is used to tie them. We need to keep in mind that the plant should be have free movement through the water current, and it should be tied properly. Then it will grow and it will be the time for harvesting and drying. So as we can see in the figure, the harvesting of the seaweeds take place. So a small amount of seaweed was added and this fragment have grown up into a bigger portion which needs to be cut down. So pruning will take place with them and it will be washed thoroughly. Now a small amount of this seaweed have to be left behind for regeneration. So this is, I think, one of the best part which we can take advantage of seaweed farming. That is, once we set entire setup for farming and we add the fragments to the nylon threads, we can reuse it multiple times. So every time a small portion of the seaweed can be left, which will regenerate again. So all this work have to be done just once in the initial stage, and then we can carry on the process for multiple times. again, when some portion will be left, it will be kept again in the water and it will grow on its own. So the little portion which is being pruned and taken, it has to be kept in a clean area. It could be either sun dried or even it could be air dried. So first it will be washed and kept for air. So this is about the process of seaweed farming. Now let's check the status of seaweed farming globally and in India. Presently, China, Japan, Korea and Philippines are the largest producers of seaweeds, which contribute to around 24 million tons annually, and it costs them nearly $1,000 million. And our country, India, which is a peninsula, it has three sides from the sea coast, and it covers almost 7,000 kilometers. So we have the Arabian Sea, the Atlantic Ocean, the Bay of Bengal from the side, as we can see in the map, and a lot more is needed to establish the seaweed farming. Right now, we do not have a proper seaweed farming program, but there are many training institutes or many trainings going on seaweed farming. There are ocean institutes, universities, and many NGOs which are working extensively to, first of all, identify the different species of seaweed which can be grown in our Indian coastline, like sargassum, porphyra, Dressleria, kelp, and many others. And they also train the people out there to grow the seaweeds and find its application. So here are some of the photographs from Tamil Nadu during the training course of seaweed farming in Gujarat as well as in Hyderabad. Now let's have a look at the seaweed farming scope in our own state, Goa. Now Goa has a coastline of around 105 kilometers, and we find almost 100 different types of seaweed species which are of commercial importance. But we are still lacking in utilizing these resources to the fullest. There are many training programs being carried out by different institutes, and the NIO in Panji works a lot on the research-based conducts of the seaweeds. The Goa University itself has a course on marine biotechnology, which have a part of seaweed studies. And if we could implement the seaweed farming in our Goa state, it will be an easy source for extra income in the Goan population. Now let's again move to the advances of seaweed farming. If suppose we do the seaweed farming in the country and in the state of Goa, then first of all, it will be a comparatively easier method for cultivation. There will be mass growth in small area. The best thing is we do not have to care much about them. They do not need any fertilizers, no chemicals, pesticides, insecticides, and they grow on its own. Once the field is being produced, we can use it multiple times. And of course, the seaweeds are in high demand. They are used as delicacies and also added in certain delicacies as they are a good source of vitamins and minerals. They are also used in multivitamin tablets. So here are some of the dishes which are prepared out of seaweeds. Here is nuri or seaweed papad, which is prepared from Pyropha species of these seaweeds. Then some of the chips are infused with the extracts of seaweeds. So this is corn chip which is extracted with the seaweeds. And also there are some dishes like desminia from the kelp seaweeds. Now when we talk about the Indian population, the seaweed food products are not much into demand because we already have a lot of food industries which taste far better than these, but we find its application more on the medicinal values, like it has anti-diabetic, anti-cancer, anti-cardiovascular properties. Then it is also useful in as anti-inflammatory agents. It is used in cosmetics, like in preparation of face masks, face wash, and many other anti-aging creams. It also have a lot of research-oriented applications. For example, in microbiology, a lot of studies are going on wherein they study about bacteria and different other microorganisms. And in this field, when we cultivate these microorganisms, the agar-agar powder is widely used. And the agar-agar powder is obtained from the seaweed itself. So it is very important. Then many of the next-gen projects like organic farming. So our Agricos Alumni Association also deals exclusively to tell people about the organic farming. and we could even use seaweeds for making such organic fertilizers and other products. Then it will be useful in bioremediation. So if there is some contamination in water or any other mass heavy metal contamination, then seaweeds can be grown and they will degrade them into simpler products. So these can be used for next gen projects. There is bioplastic production which can take place from seaweed, biofuels, nanotherapies, and a lot. So there is huge scope of seaweed farming and it has a lot of practical applications. However, there are certain limitations with respect to seaweed farming. First of all, it is still need to be explored more, and a lot of more research need to be there for understanding its impact on marine ecosystem and the climate. Also, people, especially who consume seaweed, they have issues with the excess of iodine intake, so that needs to be monitored. And the practicality amongst the Indian population of growing seaweed is still unknown. So we need to actually statistically analyze the advances which can be done for the Indian population. And also for those countries where sea and ocean can be a part of private property, it can establish the VARs in suppose if they do not live in harbour. So there are some limitations, but as far as India is concerned, the ocean and other stuffs are government properties, so we do not be facing such issues. So that is about some of the limitations. However, seaweed farming can be a new scope with better advancements, and a lot more can be seen through this. So that was all about. Thank you.
Thank you, Satakshi, for a wonderful presentation.